Okay, pretty excited. Got a really nice display box in I've been wanting for a very long time. Just came in the mail, so let's open this. I am going to try to tie it to Garbage Pail Kid Cheap Toys. And when we're done, I also have something else that came in the mail that I have some other stuff I brought out for. Got a bunch of stuff around me. By the way, I put those bubble tapes back. This is what they're going to look like for now. So pretty happy with that. Hope you enjoyed those two streams. All right, let's see what this is. I've been waiting years and years for this. So this is a good one. We're going to look a little bit at Garbage Pail Kid Cheap Toys as well. So let's get in here. Yeah, this item was on my, what I call my walkaway list. My walkaway list I made years and years ago. If I get everything on my walkaway list, I'm going to walk away from the hobby. Just so you know, it's actually impossible for me to, almost impossible probably for me to ever complete that list because so many of those items have never been found or seen. All right, this is coming from a friend of mine called Tracy. Good person here. She put some freebies in there. Oh, that's really cool. Look at that Mighty Mouse. Look at that. Yeah, if you want to learn more about her, see what she offers. Her name is Sugary Sweet Vintage. All right. Got some tissue paper. Reminds me of a birthday party in here. That's awesome. Okay, that's a big one there. Always forget how big these Phoenix boxes are. So yeah, this item here is a candy / toy item. Yeah, I think I want to show you this. So you might have seen these or might remember these from back in childhood. Let's just put one of these together. This is a candy and prize box by the Phoenix Company out of Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, we need to talk about Brooklyn, actually. Anyway, this is a Spock. Forget how many they made. Maybe 8 different ones. It's either 6 or 8. But yeah, they made Star Trek ones back in the day. Here's a Captain Kirk one. Really cool. I used to have this box, but I sold it like a fool. Here's the Fat Albert one. Here's the one with Fat Albert featured on the cover, which is the best one. They also made Laugh-In. Remember the show Laugh-In? I used to watch that with my mom. Remember Goldie Hawn was in that. My favorite TV show, at least as a kid, was Welcome Back, Kotter. I actually think that's one reason I became a teacher in the end. Was I just love that show so much. I watched that over and over on rerun. On the Horse Shack, remember how? Yeah, I have all these. I need to find this box. I did see this box one time. I mean, these are boxes, but I'm talking about the big box. Now, this is one of the boxes. We will get into this in a minute. I'm just showing these little singles because they're handy. They also made a Gong Show. I'd love to have that box too, and I have seen it before once. All right, anyway, let's open this. Oh my God. I didn't know it was in this good a condition. Oh my God. Look at the condition of this box. Wow. All right, guys, we just got in 1973. I don't think that's the year it was released, though. Probably 75, though, at least, which is the year I was born. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids display box for their candy line. We saw a couple singles already. Let's just put this one together. They originally came with like a little Cracker Jack toy inside and a little thing of candy. But yeah, I had to have it. Always loved that one character was named Russell. Yeah, this is just something else. Man, the size of this box. just comparing this to a cheap toy box, it's easily, it's like almost 3 times as big, really, as a cheap toy box. This is one of my favorite things. I knew it was going to be special, but I didn't know the size of it was like this. And this front panel is everything I want. That's incredible. That is a big graphic right there. Yeah, I'm a sucker for big graphics. Here we see their lineup at the time. This expanded. Popeye, Harlem Globetrotters, Archie, Fat Albert, Planet of the Apes, Spirit of 66. Yeah, so I wanted to compare this a little bit to cheap toys. I always thought of, let's put this somewhere. By the way, I brought out the box art for Garbage Pail Kid Cheap Toys. I own the box art. This is a design. This is my design that I drew. That was later used for Cheap Toys last year. We did a release of Cheap Toys last year. I did all the graphics and art for that. But this is how they turned out. Turned out really good. Compared to the old Cheap Toys, this is a vintage one. You can see the size is about as good as you can get. But these were all hand sculpted like the original Cheap Toys were, but then cast in molds and just produced, you know. That's a bow and arrow. Great piece there. There's one of these on eBay if you want to pick one up. That's Crystal Gale. Great looking sculpt there. Not the best color for her. Let's pick a different color. Yep. This is our Sunshine. Yeah, this box is going to look so amazing with... There's something in there. It's just another box. Yeah, this box is going to look so amazing with just anything, because that yellow is just so popping. Anyway, so yeah. So let me just plug these real quick. So this is something I worked on. Also, I made this checklist myself. These little designs here I drew by hand. And then I ran them through Photoshop, my drawings through Photoshop. And then, you know, I put it together on Photoshop. But that was hand-drawn originally. Because that's how the old Cheap Toys were. This one I'm really proud of. Because it works. This is Clay Dreidel. He's a character from, I forget the year, maybe 2012 though. That was made into a cheap toy. Yeah, so super fun to work on that. Oh, Blow Joe got made, finally. Pretty good one there. Yeah. So, yeah, so when I think of, I always associated the cheap toy box art with Fat Albert. That's just not a perfect comparison, but just something I associate it with. Let me get a little set up. I'm kind of annoyed with all this stuff right here, because I want to get this over here. One second. I just have a little, very brief discussion I want to do. Okay. So yeah, so I just want to, in one frame, we're not in frame. And I would like to use my best box. This is my best shit. Okay. Yeah, so Tom Bunk is the original painter of this design. Now, it was designed by Mark Newgarden. So Mark Newgarden thought of this character. It was supposed to be a character sitting on a dump, okay? A city dump. So if you've ever watched the Fat Albert show, I'm going to try to tie this together. The Fat Albert show, I wish there was a picture of the junkyard. I don't think there is, though. In the cartoon, one of my favorite cartoons of all time, but in the cartoon, they live in Philadelphia, okay? And they live in the inner city. I think it's North Philadelphia. I've been to Philadelphia once. I think, if I remember, it's like North Philadelphia. And it takes place with these inner city kids that live in buildings a lot like on Tom Bunk's cheap toy box art. And they basically, there's nowhere for them to play, and so they have to play in the junkyard. And I really relate to that. As a kid, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and we had a junkyard. I didn't live by the dump, though, but we had a big junkyard that we would play in, and we would raid the cars. Sometimes we found blood, by the way, because these were like wrecked vehicles. What's the word for them? I can't remember. Anyway, we would raid them for, change in the seats, and we'd try to break into the trunks. We were bad little kids, but so I really related to this content. And then you get the cheap toys, and to me, it's the most perfect thing. So I want to teach you something about this that a lot of people don't know about cheap toys. By the way, it's so obvious to me that, Fat Albert's fat. He plays in a junkyard. Then you have this piece. You have this character who's in a junkyard. He's got friends around him, right? Well, look at him. He's got friends around him too. And to me, it's just growing up, you just had to make the best of your situation. So